if nobody wants to see your DEI Disney princesses anymore, or ever did to begin with, and if nobody is interested in your property, how is that helping the parks? How is it helping that you have spent collectively tens of billions of dollars continuing to expand or support your Disney princess brand? And in one shot, with a single check for $120 million that Netflix wrote to Sony, took you out like that.
Renegade Online.
Trying to feature one today for our brand new partnership with Geeks and Gamers. This is the new geeksandgamers.com website. You know, I always tell you, make sure you're checking out the news on thatparkplace.com each and every day. Well, now you check it out as well. Different stories over there on Geeks and Gamers. And, of course, both of these websites are being run by the collective brain trust over there at That Park Place with Marvin, as you can see here, Jonas as well, and so many other great writers. But Walt Disney World popularity sinks below Universal and Dollywood, and it's not even close. Now, this story comes originally from our friend Caroline Reed over at Forbes magazine, and she has been doing some digging on this. And pretty interesting here. And we've been talking about this, you know, and it doesn't seem like this a lot of times, especially when Disney has probably jacked their prices 10 or 15 or maybe more percent in just the last year or two, with more coming. And you look at this here, Caroline Reed's analysis breaks down Disney's decline park by park, and the numbers are brutal. Magic Kingdom, according to Forbes and Caroline Reed, down 21%. Epcot down 4.2%. Hollywood Studios down 43%. Animal Kingdom down a jaw-dropping 52%. Now, this has a lot to do in terms of popularity. This is not, you know, she doesn't have a way to measure people going through the gates. But in terms of popularity and people's interest in these parks, they have fallen precipitously. And what have we been talking about? What have I been talking about especially? I've made some posts on X in the last couple of weeks talking about how how cancerous that the IPs that the Walt Disney Company have become. The big traditional ones that drove people to places like the Magic Kingdom. Why do people bring kids to Magic Kingdom? It is overwhelmingly for Disney princesses. What has Disney been doing to Disney princesses since COVID? Basically killing them. We got, Black Little Mermaid that did very, very poorly. It did 1/3 the business of Barbie in basically the same year that Barbie came out. That's terrible. The most popular Disney princess they ever had up until Elsa in Frozen, right? What did we talk about Sunday? Talked about how there wasn't a single Disney character, not one, in the top 15 of Halloween costume searches on Google. The top 5 were owned by K-pop demon hunters. By the way, that's another Netflix story I forgot about. We've got to get to that in a bit. Yes, another K-pop one. But again, it's bad news for Disney, but it ties into this. And again, when you have IPs like this that are not in the cultural zeitgeist anymore, right? Think back 10, 15 years ago, you had Barbie and you had Disney princesses. Those were dominant female brands. Dominant female brands. Barbie's still around and doing fine, but I can tell you right now, Disney princesses are taking a big old nosedive. And it's evident here not only in the fact that nobody's looking in the top 15 for anything Disney princess, right? Brand new Snow White movie. The character that put the Walt Disney Animation Studios on the map almost 100 years ago, barely had anybody show up at the theater to go see it this year. That's Disney. That's what they're doing to all of their IPs. Hey, they had a big success with Lilo and Stitch. Moana was a big success. Bringing back Moana was a big success for them. That didn't do much either. That wasn't even in there. No, it's K-pop demon hunters and Wicked. Girls that want to dress up as Elphaba and Glinda. Much bigger than anything Disney has right now. And it translates into this. So if you're not as interested in going to see Disney princesses anymore, why would you bother going to the Magic Kingdom? Epcot's doesn't really surprise me because adults tend to go to Epcot. Disney adults tend to love to go to Epcot and drink around the world. It's basically become, Epcot is now an adult bar hopping experience. And especially for the locals. So it doesn't surprise me terribly that the traffic there has not changed a whole lot. Hollywood Studios down 43%. Well, dang nabbit, that's where they put Star Wars. And Star Wars is super popular, right? Right. Animal Kingdom. Sucks. There's no reason to go there. I'm sorry. There's just not. There never was, and there never will be. It's a crap park. But here's the other side of it. At Universal, there's basically there was no real net negative. Overall, at Universal, it's a different story. Universal Studios Orlando only saw a 2.5% dip. Islands of Adventure didn't decline at all. And now, with Epic Universe officially open, Universal's numbers are only expected to rise. The new park's success is already drawing tourism to Central Florida, and not to Disney's side of town. Disney executives used to laugh off Universal as the smaller rival down I-4. That joke doesn't land anymore. And then there's Dollywood, the park that's quietly proving that you don't need billion-dollar movie franchises to win families. According to Google Trends, first reported on TPP, Dollywood's popularity has risen from 32 in 2020 to 93 in 2025, a 191% surge. And I believe it. That's more than just impressive. It's cultural momentum. In that same period, Disney World's search interest declined. Dollywood now outpaces Disney in Google's own metrics, an unthinkable turnaround that speaks volumes. A 26% decline might sound like a temporary slump, but park by park, it's starting to look irreversible. Universal is growing, Dollywood is booming, and Disney is losing ground it may never get back. And we have been talking about this. We've been trying to stay ahead of the curve on the business side of things. That's what we do. And you cannot tell me, again, as many times as Disney and Bob Iger and company have constantly rung the bell of the intellectual property flywheel of Disney, where, hey, it doesn't ultimately matter what kind of box office performance we have because it helps feed things in the park. Well, if nobody gives a shit about your movies anymore, if nobody wants to see your DEI Disney princesses anymore, or ever did to begin with, and if nobody is interested in your property, how is that helping the parks? How is it helping that you have spent collectively tens of billions of dollars in the last 30 years continuing to expand or support your Disney princess brand, right? Which is 8, 9, 10 Disney princesses now, whatever it is, 12. And in one shot, with a single check, big check, but a single check for $120 million that Netflix wrote to Sony, they took your ass out. Took you out like that. That tells me, and we're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, that tells me that your brand isn't as evergreen maybe as you thought it was. And I'm talking about Disney princesses specifically again. Remember how Marvel at one point, pre-COVID, was considered an evergreen brand? I mean, it sold year-round, year-over-year, constantly. Star Wars, for decades, an evergreen brand. Now, for the last 5, 6 years, has been a basic dead brand. Now Marvel is basically a dead brand when it comes to merchandising. When I say evergreen, we're talking about tier 2, tier 3 customers that they're not just watching the TV show or going to see the movie. They're turning around and they're buying the toys, the action figures, the dolls, the T-shirts, the sleeping bags, the lunch boxes, the thermoses, the posters, and the blah, 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 blah. All the swag, right? Marvel, Star Wars, evergreen. Not anymore. If the Disney Princess line can be so easily and so quickly upended and defeated so rapidly as to the point where you can't find a single Disney princess where there have been 2-3 movies in the last few years, maybe more, of classic Disney princesses, live action remakes, and you can't find a single one of them in the top 15 of Google searches for Halloween costumes and Halloween's 9 days from now, bro, your shit broke. Simple as that. And freaking K-pop Demon Hunters is what took you out. And Wicked. But mostly, overwhelmingly, K-pop Demon Hunters. Disney has really lost their audience. They're always going to have that legacy audience. They're always going to have parents that inexplicably and frankly, in my opinion, stupidly go into massive levels of debt or have to go get money from mom and dad or grandma to go take their 2- and 3-year-olds to go to Disney World, a trip that the 2- and 3-year-olds will never remember because it's not about the kids. It's about the parents going. That's really what it is. It's for the parents. It's not for the kids. They'll always have some level of that, but I don't see where that's being replenished for the next generation. And we've talked about that before. That's Disney's biggest long-term threat that Wall Street keeps missing. Disney does not right now have a replenishment plan for the next generation. They haven't for a while. They keep fumbling. And Disney's fumbles cost billions of dollars. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.